Hi there, welcome to Telly Talk. This is episode 3, I believe. My name is Robert Llewellyn, and joining me on the Telly Talk sofa today is Jonathan Cole, who is a man I've worked with over the last few years, who's equally interested, or maybe even obsessed with how television can possibly work on the internet, the future of television, how it works, how we're going to get paid to make it. You and I set up a company a long time ago called BWebB.
1899, Robert.
1899.
Yeah,
it was
a long time ago.
and it was oddly successful in the sense that how many people looked at it.
We were the pioneers who got the arrows in the chest.
Yes.
And we're now looking to become the settlers who get the land.
Yeah. We're banging the stakes in.
Banging the stakes in. Yeah.
When I look back at the stuff we were trying to do then,
6 years ago, it looks great.
It still works, doesn't it? But I mean,
great.
we were restricted by the fact that when I went home and I wanted to watch something we put up, I'd plug in my 14.4, whatever that was. I didn't know what it was. The modem. And it took like 2 hours to download a 10-minute video clip. I mean, it was so slow. So obviously that's what's changed.
When my daughter watches television at college, is they use HTML, use an HTML browser to see a HTML video feed of all the latest American TV programs that have popped up on YouTube and other somewhat dubious sites.
Yeah, I mean, well, the same with my son. My son's 13 and he doesn't watch telly. He watches the internet. But he watches what we would recognise as TV shows that have been on TV.
It's not even a gradual shift, it's a shift from watching traditional television to watching things on a computer screen. Yeah. And that's aided and abetted by sort of the new TVs that are coming out with flat panels, which are 1080p in terms of resolution. But I was looking at some of the new Panasonics and LGs and Samsungs. They've all got memory cards in it, and you can just load your movie that you've got from your computer straight into the back of the TV. Wow. You don't even need a Apple TV box or media server.
You could put a memory card into your computer.
Yeah.
Stick a movie that you've downloaded from some illegal Russian torrent site. Stick it in your telly. You don't even need. But it's got enough software within the TV to run that.
It'll run it. It's just reading an MPEG movie. Wow. It's got an MPEG decoder in the TV. So
effectively, if you wanted to distribute films, then you could almost do it like that. You could sell a memory card with a movie.
A memory card is the new DVD. If you think about the way that memory's going, we're all using RAM chips at the moment. But if you go down a year and a half from now, it's all going to be flash memory.
Right. It's changing. It is scary. I mean, I think particularly, I don't want to age us particularly, but our generation. I mean, the computer kind of appeared kind of halfway through our lives as opposed to before we were born.
Yeah.
So we've had to kind of.
Yeah, but if you think about our kids, but anyone sub 20, all they've ever known is PlayStations and computers. It's second nature to them. They're not even thinking about going in and switching on the TV. No. They don't even care if they haven't got a TV in their bedroom as long as they've got a computer. Yes. They can watch this stuff.
Yeah. Say you're a person that wants to make, say you're someone who works in traditional broadcasting now, who makes programs for BBC or Channel 4 in this country or whatever, and they pay you money and you make the program and you give it to them and they broadcast it.
Yeah.
Well, how is that company or those people or even those individuals going to then start making programs that aren't commissioned by Channel 4 and then they put them on the internet and they don't get anything for them and everybody can watch them?
Well, you've then got to look at the revenue stream. What is a viable revenue stream for? If you can't get money for your product, then you can't make it in the first place.
Yeah.
So whereas you'll have certainly in terms of advertising agencies where they have huge budgets in terms of product placements. They may sponsor the making of the programs, which they're sort of doing already on commercial television. The model is going to be a cross between advertising, pay for revenue, even a slice of the broadband fee, which is what the record companies are trying to get at the moment.
That's interesting. Yeah. So you'll pay $19.99 a month to have.
And they pay. It's like a performing right. Performing performance royalty, which the records are trying to get from that. They're also trying to get it out of an iPod.
Right.
So every time an iPod sells, we want $1 from Apple to go to the artist.
Yes.
And so far, Apple have said no, but sooner or later they're going to have to say yes.
You think they will?
They're on pretty limited contracts with all their suppliers of movies. And sooner or later, those guys are going to say, "Oh, actually, we're not going to let you have it this year unless you pay us this amount of money." And they'll say, "Oh, we've got all these." And if enough of them do it, then they'll have their own delivery methods.
Yeah.
In fact, what's actually happened is you've got a mechanism for mass distribution of TV programs and movies that's developed through the underground, whether it be a BitTorrent site or some other delivery methods, and that is becoming the mainstream. And so there's a shift of power. From the corporations back to the individuals.
What clearly isn't going to happen is that you can stop that, can you? I mean, there is no mechanism now.
There's no mechanism to
stop piracy, effectively. It's not, you know, whatever you do, there's always a loophole. And
well, there never has been. People have been copying cassettes off of CDs for years. You know, all this is a slightly more easier way of doing it.
And on a much bigger scale as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And in a funny sort of way, I mean, you know, what's the difference between downloading a movie from the internet and watching a video that a mate of yours has recorded off of the TV on a VHS tape? There is actually no different, except that you don't have to know the bloke you're downloading it from. So I think there's sort of almost like the legal side of things, copyright law, is kind of like antiquated, and that's being rewritten. And the copyright may sit with the artist's image rather than with the recorded content. So that's one thing to look at. But you know, the digital watermarking is something that we've both been looking at recently. I mean, that's kind of like one of the ways forward, because you're looking at the social conscience of the viewer, as opposed to any other form of trying to impose a DRM, which actually just puts everybody off.
I mean, I think the thing about the watermarking thing, which is a system, I'll explain quickly, a system where you actually embedded in the sound code, isn't it? There is an identifying marker, effectively, which is traceable back to the person who purchased the video in the first place, which seems to make sense. And I think what that does is it doesn't stop piracy at all, because they, you know, if someone wants to distribute that, they will, and it's very doubtful they'd really get, you know, they might get caught, but.
I mean, I think,
but the majority of people who buy it will go, I'm buying this for me, and that's as far as it goes.
And also the method of purchasing, you know, when we had BWB, we didn't have any way for anybody to buy the video.
No.
You know, Visa wouldn't take a 30p transaction. So, you know, we did set about writing some code in order to make micropayment, and of course micropayment's now a matter of fact. I mean, everybody's doing it, and it's now a lot easier to take payment, do subscription or whatever. But it's all going to be driven by content. Who's got the best content? You know, that is going to be the site you're going to go to. So you can have some wonderful technology, but if you haven't got the content, you're not going to win. The most interesting model that I've seen recently was this idea of, you know, where you've got Google ads on the side of the page. It was our friends that we went to see who had this model for putting the video vending machine in place of those Google ads. So if you host, or say on your blog, some video, sits in a strip down the side of your blog. If somebody clicks and goes through, you get paid for money being an affiliate. When the person goes and downloads it back to their computer, I think that's a really good idea, because the most important thing about video and TV is going to be distribution. It has to be,
and finding it, isn't it? I mean,
finding it. I mean, you mentioned a couple of websites to me. Had you been to them? No. Why? Because I hadn't read about them. If I haven't read about them, I'm not going to know about them. And there doesn't seem to be sort of like a, have you seen this website service out there these days?
Well, they kind of are.
Google has become so establishment that you don't actually get beyond the first page. You know, the first page is all somebody who's paid a load of money to be on, or has got very obscure words that they put there, what the search engine optimization is doing. So where do you find out about this thing? So I end up asking my daughter, you ask your son, and that's where we find out about it.
I think it's askakid.com.
Askakid.com, perfect.
I think that's all we've got time for this week. Thank you for watching.
And good night.
And good night from him.
And from him.